All right, so we're diving into happiness today,
Happiness.
the science of happiness.
Yeah.
We're going deep with some research pulled straight from the Happiness Lab podcast
Yeah.
to really try to figure out
Yeah.
what makes a fulfilling life.
And not just fleeting happiness, but
Yeah, not just like those fleeting happy moments.
right.
But like the real deal long-term stuff.
That's the interesting part, right? It's not just about feeling good in the moment.
Yeah.
It's about overall life satisfaction.
Yes.
A sense of well-being that lasts.
Exactly. And get this, there are actually two main types of happiness.
Oh.
You've got your hedonic happiness,
Okay.
which is that like pure enjoyment, the feel-good stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like a delicious meal or laughing with friends.
Right.
But then there's this whole other level called eudaimonic happiness.
Think of it like this hedonic happiness is a slice of cake, delicious but temporary.
Okay.
Eudaimonic happiness is like building something meaningful with your life brick by brick.
I like that.
It's tied to living a life that truly reflects your values and purpose.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not just about having fun.
Right.
It's about feeling like your life has like real meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm curious about this whole money equals happiness thing.
Right.
Does having more cash actually make you happier?
It's a bit of a myth, actually.
Really?
Research shows there's a tipping point.
Okay.
In the U.S., it's around $75,000 per year.
Okay.
After that, more money doesn't really equal more day-to-day happiness.
Interesting.
It's like once your basic needs are met, the happiness boost from money kind of flatlines.
So winning the lottery might not make you as happy as you think.
Exactly. What's more interesting is how you use your money.
Okay.
Think back to those two types of happiness.
Okay.
Spending on experiences like travel or concerts
Right.
tends to fuel that eudaimonic happiness. The meaningful memories stick with you.
I can totally see that a new phone gets old, but that trip to Italy,
Right.
that's a story you tell forever.
And there's even research showing that spending money on others
Okay.
can actually boost your own happiness.
Interesting.
It's like those feel-good chemicals get a jolt when we do something kind of.
So basically, being generous is good for your mental health.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, another big question. Do happy people just like never feel negative emotions?
Definitely not.
Okay.
Life throws curveballs at everyone.
Right.
Trying to avoid negative feelings is actually pretty unhealthy.
Really?
What matters is developing what's called emotional agility.
Emotional agility. What's that all about?
It's the ability to acknowledge, accept, and navigate all your emotions, even the tough ones.
Even the tough ones.
Think of it like surfing.
Yeah.
You can't control the waves,
Okay.
but you can learn to ride them.
So instead of getting wiped out by a wave of sadness, you learn to kind of surf it out.
Exactly.
I like that analogy.
Mhm.
But how do you actually do that?
It's about getting to know your emotions, learning to label them,
Okay.
figure out what triggers them, and develop healthy coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel sad or angry,
Right.
but it's how you handle those feelings that matters.
So it's not about pretending everything's perfect.
Right.
It's about dealing with the tough stuff in a healthy way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned something earlier about relationships and happiness.
Yeah,
Is there a connection there?
absolutely. Research is crystal clear on this one.
Okay.
Strong social connections are vital to our well-being.
Right.
There's this incredible study, the Harvard Study of Adult Development, which has followed people for over 80 years.
Wow.
Guess what they found was the biggest predictor of a long and happy life?
Okay. I'm on the edge of my seat here. Tell me.
Close relationships.
Okay.
It's not about having tons of friends, but about the quality of those connections.
Got it.
Feeling seen, heard, understood.
Right.
Those are the relationships that give us that deep sense of belonging and support.
So it's about having a few really solid people in your corner.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And nurturing those relationships takes effort, right?
For sure. It's like tending a garden. You've got to be present, listen, show appreciation, and be there for each other through the good times and the bad.
I can see that.
It's an investment, but the return in happiness is huge. Now relationships are foundational,
Okay.
but there are other science-backed habits that can really boost your happiness.
Okay, let's talk about those.
One of the most powerful, gratitude.
Ooh, gratitude. I love that it's so simple, but it seems to make a big difference.
Yeah.
Didn't some research find that expressing gratitude regularly can increase happiness by something like 25%?
Spot on.
Wow.
It's amazing what a little gratitude can do. Our brains are actually wired to focus on the negative.
Oh, that's interesting.
But practicing gratitude helps rewire that, training your brain to notice and appreciate the good things in life.
So it's like you're rewiring your brain to be more positive. I'm all for that.
Mhm.
How do you do that?
And the best part, it's easy to do. Just jot down 3 things you're grateful for each day.
Okay.
It can be as simple as a sunny morning
Right.
or a good cup of coffee.
Right.
Yeah,
This small act can make a huge difference in how you see the world.
I'm definitely going to try that. Okay. What other happiness habits are backed by science?
Well, mindfulness is another powerful tool. It's about paying attention to the present moment without judgment.
Okay.
Practices like meditation have been scientifically proven to reduce stress,
Right.
improve focus,
Yeah.
and boost overall well-being.
I've tried meditation before, and even a few minutes a day can really help me feel more centered and calm.
Exactly. And here's another simple but effective one. Get outside.
Oh, yeah.
Spending time in nature has a calming effect on our brains.
Yeah.
Aim for at least 2 hours a week outdoors,
Oh.
and you'll see the benefits in your mood and your health.
I can definitely get behind that. A walk in the park always makes me feel better. Okay, what about finding your purpose? Does that play a role in happiness?
Absolutely. Having a sense of purpose is linked to greater happiness and even a longer life.
Really?
It's about feeling like your life has meaning and direction.
Like you're contributing to something bigger than yourself.
So it's not about having some grand world-changing mission.
Right.
It's more about feeling like your life has meaning.
Precisely. It can be about being a great parent, helping others, or pursuing a passion that lights you up.
Right.
It's about aligning your life with your values
Okay.
and finding things that truly motivate and inspire you.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about figuring out what matters to you and living a life that reflects that. So if purpose is so important, how do you actually find it? Is it like hidden somewhere waiting to be discovered?
It's less about finding it like a lost treasure and more like cultivating a garden.
Okay.
It takes introspection, figuring out what your values are, and then actually aligning your actions with those values.
So it's not a one-time
Yeah.
aha
Yeah.
moment. It's an ongoing process.
Exactly. It's a journey of self-discovery,
Yeah.
and it evolves as you learn and grow. And here's another key point. Purpose doesn't have to be one fixed thing.
You mean you can have multiple purposes?
Yeah.
Or your sense of purpose can change over time?
You got to think about it. Your passions, interests, and what you prioritize will likely shift throughout your life.
Right.
Your sense of purpose can adapt right along with those changes.
So it's not about finding that one perfect calling.
Yeah.
It's about staying open to exploring different paths and seeing what truly resonates with you at each stage of your life. That's kind of freeing, actually.
It is. Now, let's switch gears a bit and talk about how happiness affects your physical health. It turns out happiness isn't just about feeling good mentally. It can actually have tangible benefits for your body.
Wait, so being happy can actually make you healthier? Tell me more.
Absolutely. There's a ton of research showing a strong link between happiness and improved physical health. For example, happier people tend to have lower blood pressure,
Wow.
stronger immune systems, and even a reduced risk of chronic diseases.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's not just about feeling good in your head.
Mm-hmm.
It actually has a positive ripple effect on your whole body.
Exactly, and it works both ways. Taking care of your physical health can also make you happier when you exercise, eat nutritious food,
Right.
and get enough sleep. You're creating a solid foundation for happiness and well-being.
It's like a positive feedback loop.
Mm-hmm.
Happiness and health boost each other. Now, I've heard about this concept called flow states, and I'm really curious to learn more. What exactly are they, and how do they relate to happiness?
Flow states are those moments when you're completely absorbed in an activity, so focused that you lose track of time, you're fully engaged, and feel a sense of effortless joy and fulfillment. It's like being in the zone.
Yeah, I totally get that. It's like when you're working on a project you're passionate about, or playing music, or even having a deep conversation, and you just completely lose yourself in it.
Exactly. And research shows that experiencing flow states can significantly boost your happiness and well-being.
Interesting.
They're linked to increased creativity,
Okay.
productivity, and even a stronger sense of purpose in life.
So flow states are like a secret weapon for happiness.
Yeah.
How do you cultivate more of them in your life?
It starts with identifying the activities that really engage you, the things that challenge you just enough without being overwhelming. You want to find that sweet spot between boredom and anxiety.
So it's about finding activities that are both challenging and enjoyable.
Exactly. Then it's about setting clear goals,
Okay.
minimizing distractions, and creating an environment that helps you focus.
So it's about intentionally creating the space and conditions for flow to happen.
Yeah.
Now, life isn't always sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
How does resilience play into happiness, especially when we face challenges and setbacks?
That's a great question. Resilience is key.
Okay.
It's the ability to adapt and cope effectively with stress adversity and even trauma.
Wow.
It's about bouncing back from setbacks, learning from your experiences, and coming out stronger on the other side.
So it's not about avoiding challenges altogether.
Right.
It's about having the tools and mindset to deal with them in a healthy way.
Exactly. And research has found several factors that contribute to resilience.
They-
Strong social connections are huge, having people you can rely on for support.
Okay, so those relationships are important again.
Mm-hmm. A positive outlook also helps believing you can overcome challenges.
Right.
Then there are effective coping mechanisms.
Right.
Having healthy ways to deal with stress and finally a sense of purpose gives you a reason to keep going, even when things get tough.
So it's like having a strong foundation that helps you weather the storms.
Exactly.
But how do you actually build resilience? Is it something you're born with, or can you develop it over time?
Resilience is definitely a skill you can cultivate. It's about building healthy habits, practicing self-care,
Okay.
and seeking support when you need it.
So it's like strengthening a muscle. The more you work on it, the stronger it gets. Now, I'm fascinated by the idea that our mindset can impact our happiness. Can you talk about that a bit more?
Absolutely. Your mindset, your thoughts and beliefs shapes how you see the world, interpret events,
Mhm.
and ultimately how you experience life.
So if you have a negative mindset, you're more likely to focus on the bad stuff and feel unhappy.
Exactly. But if you cultivate a more positive mindset, you're more likely to notice the good, appreciate the small things, and approach challenges with a can-do attitude.
So it's about choosing to focus on the bright side, even when things are tough. But how do you actually shift your mindset from negative to positive? That sounds pretty challenging.
It's definitely a process, but it's possible with conscious effort and practice, and there's research to back it up. One of the most effective strategies is practicing gratitude. We've already talked about its benefits,
Yeah.
but it's worth repeating. Focusing on what you're grateful for helps shift your attention away from negativity and cultivates a more positive outlook.
It's like training your brain to see the glass half full instead of half empty.
Exactly. Another strategy is to challenge negative thoughts.
Oh, okay.
When those thoughts pop up, don't just accept them as truth.
Okay.
Question them. Look for evidence to the contrary and reframe them in a more positive light.
So instead of thinking I'm not good enough, you might ask yourself, what evidence do I have to support that thought? And then look for examples of times when you were successful or capable.
That's a great example. And finally, surround yourself with positivity.
Okay.
The people you spend time with and the information you consume have a huge impact on your mindset. Seek out positive influences,
Yeah.
whether it's supportive friends, inspiring books, or uplifting music.
It's about creating an environment that nurtures your well-being and helps you stay focused on the good stuff.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Now, I've always felt like helping others makes me feel good. Is there a connection between giving back and happiness?
You're definitely onto something there. Research has consistently shown that acts of kindness and generosity have a remarkable impact on your own happiness.
So it's not just about receiving,
Right.
but also about giving.
Exactly. When you focus on helping others, you shift your attention away from your own problems and tap into a sense of purpose and connection
Right?
that brings deep fulfillment.
And it doesn't have to be about grand gestures or
Yeah.
donating a ton of money. It can be about small, everyday acts of kindness.
Exactly. Volunteering your time, donating to a cause you care about, or simply offering a helping hand to someone in need. These are all acts of kindness that can make a difference. And here's something fascinating. Our neuroscience shows that when you engage in acts of kindness, your brain releases endorphins, which have mood-boosting and pain-relieving effects.
So giving back literally makes you feel good.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Okay, before we wrap up, I want to touch on self-care. What does that mean in the context of happiness, and what are some examples of self-care practices?
Self-care is about intentionally engaging in activities that nurture your mental, emotional, and physical well-being.
So it's about prioritizing your own needs
Right.
and making sure you're taking care of yourself.
Exactly. And it's not selfish at all. Self-care is essential for maintaining your energy resilience and overall well-being, and it looks different for everyone.
So it's about finding what works for you.
Precisely, for some, it might be taking a long bath, reading a book, or spending time in nature. For others, it might be exercise, meditation, or connecting with loved ones.
The key is to identify the activities that replenish and energize you, and then make time for them regularly.
And remember, self-care is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Just like you need to eat, sleep, and exercise to maintain your physical health. You need to engage in self-care practices to nurture your mental and emotional well-being.
It's like putting on your own oxygen mask first,
Yeah,
so you can then help others.
that's a great analogy. When you prioritize self-care, you're better equipped to handle stress, navigate challenges, and cultivate greater happiness and fulfillment.
So as we reflect on all we've learned about the science of happiness, it seems clear that happiness isn't some final destination you arrive at.
Right.
It's an ongoing journey.
Exactly. It's not about achieving some elusive state of constant bliss, but about cultivating habits, practices, and mindsets that contribute to a fulfilling and meaningful life.
And it's an ongoing process.
Yeah,
It requires effort, attention, and a willingness to learn and grow.
it does.
But the good news is that happiness is within reach.
Hmm.
All this research gives us a roadmap, pointing us towards the habits, practices, and mindsets that can lead to a more fulfilling life.
It's empowering, isn't it? We're not just passive bystanders. We have the power to choose our thoughts, actions, and habits, and those choices shape our experiences.
So instead of waiting for happiness to just magically happen,
Right.
we can actively create it. I like that.
Exactly. It's about taking charge of your well-being and making conscious choices that support your happiness now as we wrap up our deep dive.
Okay.
Let's distill some key takeaways.
Okay, let's do it. What are
Okay.
the big things you want listeners to remember about happiness?
First and foremost, happiness is not a static state. It's an ongoing process.
Okay.
It's something you build through your thoughts, actions, and the relationships you cultivate.
And it's not about chasing those fleeting highs, but about building a life rich in meaning, purpose, and connection.
Absolutely. Second, there are proven practices that can really boost your happiness levels.
Okay.
We talked about gratitude,
Yeah.
mindfulness,
Mm-hmm.
strong relationships,
Yes.
spending time in nature, and giving back to others.
Yeah. These practices are like tools in your happiness toolkit.
Yeah.
The more you use them, the better equipped you are to deal with life's ups and downs and create a more fulfilling life.
Now, here's a point that often gets overlooked. Happiness isn't just about feeling good. It has a real impact on your physical health.
We talked about that earlier. Happier people tend to have stronger immune systems,
Right.
lower blood pressure, and a reduced risk of those chronic illnesses.
Exactly. Taking care of your mental and emotional well-being is also about taking care of your physical health. And finally, remember that happiness is a journey, not a destination. It's a continuous process of learning, growing, and adapting.
There will always be bumps in the road.
Yes.
But by using what we've learned about positive psychology, we can create a life that's full of joy, purpose, and meaning.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I encourage you to think about what resonated with you most.
Yep.
What one small step can you take today to bring those happiness-boosting practices into your own life?
Yeah, what small change can you make?
Remember, happiness is a choice.
Yes.
And it's a choice you can make every single day.
And by making those choices, you create a ripple effect of positivity, not just for yourself, but for the people around you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the science of happiness.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep learning, and keep choosing happiness.